Have you ever heard footsteps above your head in the middle of the night, even though you know no one is up there? What if I told you that sometimes the scariest thing in your house isn't hiding under your bed? It's living right above you. This happened to me, and even now, I still don't know what was hiding inside my attic. It all started a few weeks after my family moved into an old wooden house at the edge of a quiet town. The house looked beautiful during the day, but every room had a strange feeling, as if someone was quietly watching us. My parents thought it was just because the house was old, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The attic was locked when we moved in. The previous owner gave my father a small, rusty key and simply said, "You probably won't need to go up there." At the time, we laughed about it, but after the first week, strange things began happening. Every night at exactly 2:17 a.m., I heard slow footsteps coming from the attic. They were heavy, careful, and always followed the same pattern. 3 steps, then silence. 3 more steps, then silence again. I asked my parents if they heard them, but they said it was probably the old wood expanding because of the cold weather. I tried to believe them, but the sound was too clear to ignore. One night, I decided to stay awake. I watched the clock until it reached 2:17. Right on time, the footsteps started again. My bedroom ceiling creaked, as if someone was walking directly above me. Then came a slow, scratching sound. It moved across the ceiling from one side of the room to the other. I pulled my blanket over my head, but I could still hear it. The next morning, I looked outside to see if maybe an animal had gotten onto the roof. But there were no footprints, no broken tiles, nothing at all. Days passed, and the sounds became louder. Sometimes I heard whispering through the ceiling, but I couldn't understand the words. Sometimes I heard something dragging across the attic floor. My dog Max refused to go near the attic stairs. Every time he walked close, he would freeze, growl softly, and back away with his tail between his legs. Animals usually sense danger before humans do, and Max looked terrified. One afternoon, while my parents were shopping, I finally decided to open the attic. My hands shook as I unlocked the old wooden door. It opened with a loud creak, releasing a cloud of dust and cold air. The attic was dark except for a tiny window at the far end. Old furniture, broken boxes, and dusty paintings filled the room. Everything seemed normal until I noticed something strange. In the thick layer of dust covering the floor were fresh footprints. They weren't mine. They looked almost human, but were unusually long, with thin toes stretching forward. The footprints started near the window and disappeared into the darkness behind a pile of old furniture. I slowly walked toward them, my heart pounding louder with every step. As I moved one of the old boxes aside, I found a small wooden chair facing the wall. On the wall, someone had written hundreds of times with black paint, "Don't look behind you." I froze. The room was completely silent. Then I heard breathing. It wasn't my breathing. It was slow, deep, and very close. I wanted to turn around, but every part of my body told me not to. Suddenly, something whispered my name. It sounded exactly like my mother's voice. "Come here." But my mother wasn't home. I ran downstairs as fast as I could, slammed the attic door shut, and locked it again. That night, the footsteps didn't stay in the attic. They moved across the hallway outside my bedroom. Slow, heavy, closer and closer. Then they stopped right outside my door. The doorknob slowly turned. I held my breath and stared at it without making a sound. After a few seconds, the handle stopped moving. Then 3 soft knocks came from the other side. Knock, knock, knock. A quiet voice whispered, "I know you're awake." I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I told my parents everything. My father smiled and said I had watched too many horror movies. To prove there was nothing there, he grabbed the attic key and went upstairs. My mother and I waited below. Minutes passed in complete silence. Then we heard my father laughing. "There's nothing here," he shouted. Suddenly the laughter stopped. A loud crash echoed through the house. We rushed upstairs. The attic door was wide open, but my father was gone. We searched every corner of the attic. There was no sign of him. Then we noticed something written on the dusty floor with a single finger. It simply said, "Too late." The police searched the entire house but found nothing. No broken windows, no hidden exits, no evidence that anyone had entered. My father was officially listed as missing. Weeks later, my mother decided we had to move away. As the moving truck was loaded, I looked back at the house one last time. Through the tiny attic window, I saw someone standing inside. It looked exactly like my father. He smiled slowly and lifted one hand to wave at me. I shouted his name, but before I could run toward the house, the figure's smile grew wider, much wider than any human smile should. Then it stepped backward into the darkness and disappeared forever. We left that day and never returned. Years have passed since then, but sometimes, no matter where I live, I still wake up at exactly 2:17 in the morning. Every single time I hear 3 slow footsteps coming from above my ceiling. And every single time I remember the words written on that attic wall. Don't look behind you. If you enjoyed this scary story and want to hear more terrifying tales every week, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next nightmare. Sleep carefully, because tonight, something might already be living above you.